একটু লাইভ কিছু নেই Hello everyone, welcome to the BFLHA webinar series. I'm Wasif Jamal Khan and I want to welcome you all to episode 4 of the BFLHA webinar series. Today's episode is a very special one because we have 9 law students from 6 different continents around the world. And the general topic of discussion for today is global legal perspective. And as that is the general topic of discussion, we're also going to other things. We will ask these brilliant young law students about their journeys as law students, the struggles they have had to face as law students. We will discuss about the aspirations they have towards contributing towards social justice, and we want to know how this webinar has been an obstacle for them and how they managed to overcome that obstacle. We have some amazing guests with us today, and so how we're going to do things today is I'm going to ask a question, and then I'm going to introduce one guest after another, and they're all going to, address the same question. And then once everybody's done, we're going to move on to the next question, and we'll go so on and so forth. So our first question of the night is, please discuss your journey as a law student, and please discuss the struggles that you have faced in your journey as a law student, and how you have subsequently managed to overcome those problems that you have encountered. And let's start with Mr. Jainer G. Hernandez. Hello, Jainer. Hey, Jainer, please tell us about your journey as a law student, and please tell us the struggles that you faced and the ones you've managed to overcome. Hello. Jainer, your mic is on mute. You have to unmute your mic, please.
Sorry. Okay, so I joined law school.
It's all right, man.
Sure. I joined law school in 2015. I choose laws. I consider that most of my skills and my qualities will help me to become an outstanding lawyer. As of today, I consider that I made a great decision, as I don't see me practicing any other career. For me, law school become harder when I start working on a technical support company as an email advisor. It become harder since my work shift start at 6 a.m. in the morning and end up at 4 p.m. and then I had to take my classes, and I was struggling to manage all my time since my full day was only work and the university. So I have to overcome manage all the time and trying to reach any spare time to comply with all my duties with all my assignments. And it become more easier when I start working in a law firm here in Nicaragua, since I didn't have to make an exhaustive research to comply with my assignments, since all the assignments that were taken by the teachers, I already knew it by practicing law in my work. So basically, that was one of the harder obstacles for me.
Okay, I think he lost his connection because so recently the what is it called? The submarine cables were destroyed in my country for some reason. So I'm just gonna get back to him, all right? Okay, I'm just gonna remove my. So guys, as soon as he does not come back, I'm gonna work on with the questions so that we do not have to wait and waste our time over here because I don't know when he's gonna come back. So we're gonna ask the same question to Javier over here again. So thank you so much for your question, Jenna. We're gonna ask Javier, all right? Okay, so Javier, would you like to tell us about your journey as a law student and the obstacles that you have faced in law school?
Most definitely. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me, Savi. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. And so, to be brief regarding the question, so for me, definitely my biggest issue with studying law was finding a purpose. I didn't know, like when I started law school, I didn't want to go to law school. Like I literally just went to the university because I had to choose a major. So, like for the first years of university, I was pretty confused and I wasn't really enjoying actually like going to law school because I didn't see myself in the near future as a lawyer. I didn't like the classes that I was receiving. And so how did I deal with that? So I think the main reason and the thing that I wish I could have done sooner is participating as many projects as I could. You know this pretty well. Like I started participating in moot courts, I started participating in student associations and like writing for like journals or whatever. Doing all of these things showed me what did I like and what did I not like from the profession. And it was only by doing so much different things, some of which I enjoyed, some of which I did not enjoy, that I managed to actually find some pleasure and like find which things I could see myself doing like as a career. And that's actually how I found my passion for international human rights law, which is definitely the area which I enjoy the most. Because when you do a lot of things, even if you don't like most of them, there will be at least one that you like, and that's enough, like to keep going forward. So that would be for me the how I overcame that obstacle.
Right. I think it's almost the same for like each one of us, like at least some of it, because we all kind of come from the same background, and yeah, I think we all can relate to that. When we all started law school, we did not know what we were doing, and yeah, we all overcame that. So next, I'm gonna ask Nikki about her experience in the law school and how she overcame it. Okay, the obstacles that you faced and how you overcame it.
Yes. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. And it is my pleasure to share my experience with you all. Um, I think the same with, I think I'm the same with Javier as well, because during the first and second year of my legal studies, I wasn't that interested into law school or stay in the law subject. But as time went on, as I started to participate in the students' organizations like debate and moot court, and I started developing the interest into the subjects. And by the third year, I started to find my passion in the international arbitration, and because of a professor, and he is very passionate about teaching, and he is very kind and a very motivating. So I developed my interest in international arbitrations then. then I started competing in the moot courts competition. The highlights of my undergrad law school life was going to Hong Kong for the William C. Beatty's moot commutation, and I think I found my passion there, and I started participating in moot court much more than I did before. So yeah, that's my life as law student.
That's amazing. All right, so we're gonna move on to Cowboy. So thank you so much, Nikki, for sharing your experience with us. Now we're gonna move on to Cowboy and hear from him. Okay, so how are you, Cowboy?
I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Be part of something great, something revolutionary. And my journey as a law student, unlike the others, I've always wanted to study law. So it's almost like a dream coming true as I study it. I'm still finding my passions, but of course, there have been some difficulties. So the workload is quite overwhelming sometimes, but you have to get up, remind yourself why you're doing it, constantly believe in yourself, because you have to be your biggest cheerleader. And I've participated in a number of moot court competitions. I was the Africa runner-up, some UNICEF Child Moot Court competition. And it's been great. It's been great.
So I think one thing common between all of us that we're all like extremely enthusiastic about mooting, and we're all mooters from like a different part of the world. That's actually really great. Yeah, we should all have like a mooting competition when we all meet in London together. Like we can have our own team.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
We can do that. We can definitely do that. Okay. So then we're gonna move on to Sarah. Thank you so much, Cowboy. Then we're gonna move on to Sarah and then come back to you again. All right. So, would you please tell us about your obstacles in law school, your journeys, and how you've overcame everything?
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Sabi. And hi, everyone. So my journey in law school hasn't been easy, just like for everybody. To start with, the first difficult thing that every law student out there goes through is how to get acquainted with law school itself, because you will find that it's a bit different from these other academic platforms. So you have to get yourself familiar with law materials. You have to get familiar with law reports, especially that you have a huge workload. You have a lot of things to study, and it gets overwhelming in a sense that it usually has an impact on someone's mental stability. At the end of the day, you need to have friends, and that is one way of how I managed to get through it. Having friends around, my classmates on course, Kawa is one of them, encouraging me, and at the end of the day, staying focused. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you so much. That was actually pretty inspiring coming from all of you. So now we're gonna move on to Talita, and then we're gonna hear her experience. Okay. So wait. All right. Okay. Talita, you're up.
Hi. Thank you, Sabi, for having me. I'm so excited. Um, and good morning from my side of the world.
Yes, guys, she's here with us, and she's like 2 in the morning over there, and she's still here with us, and that is so amazing to have you here. So yeah,
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here. So my journey through law school. For I think I'm kind of like Kabwe, in the sense that I always, I sort of didn't always know that I wanted to be a lawyer or to study law, but I knew that I wanted to stand up for people, I guess, in a way. And I always got into so much trouble, 16-year-olds thinking they knew everything. So I got into so much trouble, and it was my dad who convinced me that I should take law. And so that's how my journey started. It's just to make my dad happy. But also, that little fire you have that you want to do something for the world and make it a better place. So that's why I studied law. Oh, well, that's why I'm studying law. It hasn't been easy. So if I were to break down the challenges that I've faced, there it would be in with regards to my academic journey and the financial constraints that came with it. So it was difficult having to be away from my home and in another country, and the school fee was the tuition was a bit expensive, and so that was pretty hard. But I'm grateful for DLA Piper for the opportunity that they have given us. So I guess with my tuition, it was overcame through DLA Piper. With the academic constraints, it was I think in first year especially was when I came from a full-on homeschool kid, being taught that life is, black or white. You either see it this way or see it that way. And I came to law school thinking that way, and then I just realized that nah, it can be gray sometimes. And my dream was shattered because I always thought, it's this or it's that. And now, I'll just give an example. So we were in class and we were having a discussion about abortion. And I know it's an issue. There are people against and there are people for it. So, I thought this is, it's actually this. And then there are other people, other students in the class who had their own perspective. And I was like, no, but it's supposed to be like this. And I realized that it's not always how we think it is, even though it sometimes is, but circumstances don't allow it to be the way we think it's supposed to be. So that was a really big challenge. I think aligning my moral compass to certain things that the law says it's fine, and I would personally say no, it's not fine, or you would say that it's fine or not fine. Just that difficulty I had to wrestle with my first year, and I wouldn't say that I've completely overcome it. Sorry, but I think I'm getting there, and I think with every situation it's different. So if I were to pick one challenge, it would be that, and that was my biggest and my first encounter in law school. And of course the academic challenges come with it, but yeah, it would be this. So yeah, don't know if that makes sense, but that's that for me.
Yeah, that was actually pretty clear. I think we all got some tips from it, and we got a lot of understanding of what you went through and how you overcame it and everything like that. Okay, so thank you so much, Talita. So now we are going to move and talk to Fatou regarding it. So Fatou, please talk to us about your journey, your experiences, the challenges that you faced, and everything else that you would like to share with us.
Hi guys, so I'm Fatou from the Gambia. I think I just want to say first that I am probably the only one who's not a mooter in general. Like the mooting aspect of it is like exciting, but I don't think I'm genuinely a mooter. So everybody else is like really good at the mooting aspect of it, but me, I'm just not a mooter. So when we go to London, I'll just like look at you guys while you're doing it and be like, yay! In general, law school, I think like everybody else, I wasn't like, oh, I want to be a lawyer. I think it was probably like my parents were like, oh, you're really argumentative. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, and you're also a good writer. So I think all those aspects of it was what drove me to like try and study law. And then when I got into the field, I realized, oh, this is something I'm actually really good at. I really like this courses I'm taking, for example, constitutional law, not environmental law, law of evidence, and things like that. So my journey through law school, I think the aspects that made it difficult or made it challenging was getting the resources I needed to facilitate my learning, and finding, I think, because being in the Gambia, it's really difficult to get access to materials that you would need. So trying to get that, trying to stay on top of like your studies and trying to make sure that you're on top of your game was something that I found really difficult, because I did my schooling in different countries. So when I came to the Gambia to pursue law and like study, not being having access to like Wi-Fi and having access to like constant electricity, and just not being able to like get everything I needed was something that I found really difficult. But I think through the years, trying to find those people that you can get to can help you out. For example, your mentors, teachers, was just something that really helped in making sure that my journey to law school was just, there, and I was keeping a head strong and making sure that, yeah, this is what I want to do. So to play my part in changing the world in the way I want to see the world. So I think that is my journey through law school. Yeah.
That is actually amazing. And you know what? Like, I think you can still join us. I think that would still be great when we are gonna do all competition all among ourselves. Okay. So last but not the least, Edward Rodis. We're gonna ask you the same question again. So yeah.
Hi. Sorry. Thank you for
Hello.
having me. So I guess, early on in law school, I figured out that there was many things that you can learn in a classroom, but in order to be like a good lawyer out on the on the street and actually practicing law, there was a whole other set of skills that you had to learn that you weren't always taught in the classroom, right? So that was a challenge for me because I guessed, well, I have to get to do work, to get an internship. And as I started working, it was really hard because law school can be demanding at times, and you have to balance between your studies and your work. And I guess that was like a big challenge, but with time you figure out how to manage it. But yeah, I think that's important. That you learn stuff at the classrooms, and you're really good at knowing what the law says and the theory behind the law, but also knowing how to practice it in real life, which is another skill set that you also need as a law student.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So before we move on to the next question, and actually Wasi is going to take on from here. If you like, I should answer the same question. My journey in law school actually started in law school, because before that I wasn't sure what I wanted to study. I was actually very confused between studying business and studying law. That is the reason I want to be a corporate lawyer, because I like business as much as I like studying law. And when I started law school, I really started doing many other things that I was interested in, such as mooting, my research, and I also liked teaching a lot. So I was a TA as well in my university. And the challenges were to do all the things together and to get a maximum result out of everything. So yeah, but the main point was I wanted to utilize my time efficiently, and I think I sort of did that. So if somebody actually wants to do something, they eventually get to do it, and it was in my case. So more than the challenges that I've faced, I've learned how to work in a situation so that the challenges are actually minimized. So that's what I have done. So I'm gonna add back Wasif again so that he can take on from here. Okay, Wasif, you're live. I think he still has internet problems. Okay, Wasif, can you hear us? You need to turn your microphone on. Yeah.
Everyone, I'm really sorry for what happened earlier. We're having some technical issues here over in Bangladesh. But moving on from that, my next question for you is, but yeah, of course. Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you. Wasil, we can hear you. I think you should move on with the questions. Okay. So guys, I think he has a technical issue again. I'm really sorry, guys. The problem is that recently the submarine cables in my countries were destroyed. It was like an accident. So now the internet connection in some places in Bangladesh is like really, really bad. So that is why he's trying to come in the conversation, but he cannot get in because of the internet connection problem. So he actually has sent me the question, so I'm gonna take over from here. So the next question is that what are your aspirations for society and how do you believe you can contribute to provide social justice as a lawyer? So we're gonna start with Jenner again. Guys, please remember to turn on your microphones when I bring you on screen, all right? So I'm bringing Jenner on screen. All right, yeah, Jenner.
Thank you, Sabiha.
No problem. Now we can all hear you, yes.
Okay, well, regarding your questions, to be honest, when I start law school, I didn't have a clear picture on how could I help society. However, during my journey as a student, as a paralegal, I started concerned with tax law, realizing how important is tax law for the development of a country. For me, tax is one of the most important keys to improve health, education, infrastructure, and other systems or sectors of a country. As of today, Nicaragua tax system is really deficient and it has like struggles. And bearing in mind those facts, I think that I can contribute with my knowledge as a public officer or as a consultant to build a better tax system. I think a nice or an efficient tax system will allow a country to fulfill all its needs and also will provide a better education and health and those other sectors that I have previously mentioned.
I think that's really unique how you think, because if you ask a lot of people how they're going to help their society with the studies of law, they usually say they want to be a human rights lawyer or they want to work for international law and stuff like that. But hearing that from you, we can understand that yes, like tax is also important for the society because taxation laws need to be fixed for the betterment of the people. Like how I want to be a corporate lawyer, some people are like, hey, do you not want to do something for your society? And then I tell them that even corporations can do a lot for the society with good policies and good systems and do CSR. Like, they can do corporate responsibilities for the society. So I can totally see where you're coming from. Thank you so much, Jenner.
I see also that every field of law you can contribute to the society, whether it is human rights, tax, corporate, environmental law. So indeed, I share your opinion.
Yeah, you cannot say one is more important than the other. Environmental law, humanitarian law, corporate law, tax law. It's all equally important. Yeah, I understand that. Thank you so much, Jenner. Now we're gonna move on to Javier. Javier, yes.
Yes, thank you, Sabi. So, well, as you know already, my aspiration is regarding human rights law, international human rights law. But in order to be more specific, I think my aspiration is to make a more inclusive society through education. The thing is that sexism, racism, classism, and like pretty much any kind and every kind of discrimination stems from ignorance, from not knowing what's different, from fearing that which you don't understand or which you don't know. And there's a famous like quote that says that ignorance breeds hate, and I think that's consistently and permanently proven right. Like to give you an example that is fairly prevalent in Guatemala, there's still a section of the population that denies that during our civil war there was a genocide against the indigenous peoples. And for 20 or something years, people have been fighting to make it so that it's declared by the state that there was actually a genocide. But why is this important? The reason why it's important is because recognizing the genocide, recognizing that there was systemic discrimination against indigenous peoples, or systemic sexism against women, is the first step in recognizing that there is something wrong with the laws, with the policies, and essentially with with the state as itself. But when you don't recognize this, when you don't recognize that there is part of that there is sexism and racism and classism inherent into our systems, you cannot change it, because you blame then the people who are suffering from these types of discrimination without actually realizing that it's the system that wants to keep them down. So I think my aspiration as a law student would be to fight to ensure that education is reached not only for the poor people who cannot access education, but also for the rich and wealthy people who receive education, but not entirely, not a comprehensive education that teaches them about history, about systemic discrimination, and about how different things make it so there are certain sectors of society that are more privileged. And in achieving this type of education, I truly believe that public policy changes can be made that can actually reach a more equal and inclusive society.
Yeah, that is amazing. That is really nice. So now we're gonna hear from Nikki. Yeah, Nikki.
Hi. Okay, my aspirations would be for the legal educations of my country, because I've been thinking about how I would be able to contribute for my country. And I found that in Myanmar, the legal education is not the highest education so far. And I think it is important for the young students to realize that being law students is a big role in a country. And law students can contribute a lot more than what other students can. So as law students, I think I will be working on developing this perspective, this view among those young law students. And my goal is to be a professor at law. So I will be going abroad, studying what students from other countries have studied, like you guys, and then contribute back to my community. That is my inspirations for my country.
Right. So I want to be a professor too, because I love teaching, as I say. I can relate to that, because I feel
Yeah.
like it's the most important thing how we can eliminate crime from the society is to educate people and to improve that education of law that we already have, because most of the people in our countries, we are neighboring countries, so we both know that
Yeah.
that the law in our country, like the university, like most of the universities do not have law as a subject, and even the preliminary studies of law are not given in like high schools or schools for the youth to understand their rights and actually utilize it for their own benefit. So that's a huge problem in law itself. So it's very important that we teach the youth, and that is what Bangladesh Forum does. My organization tries to teach the youth about their rights, about their responsibilities in the country as a society. So yeah, thank you so much, Nikki. So we're gonna move on to
Yes.
Kaveh.
Thank you.
So thank you, Kaveh. Okay, so what are your aspirations? What society? How do you believe you can contribute to providing social justice as well?
Okay, so my aspirations.
Kaveh, we cannot hear you. We cannot. Your voice is echoing.
I'm sorry, Steph. Yeah, I didn't get that.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
Network.
Okay. So we maybe you should give your microphone, and we're gonna come back to you again. All right. All right. Okay. So Sarah, the same question to you too.
Okay, so thank you. I can hear you.
Yeah.
So my aspirations for society is, first of all, I think I aspire a society that is promotes equality, regardless, equality, gender equality, distribution of the country's resources equally, and seeing a society that embraces diversity in all manner and embracing all race, regardless black, white, we all are humans. And seeing a society like that, I think it's one of my aspirations for each and every society out there in the world. And how I can contribute to that, I think one of the most important thing is that I think it should be every individual's role out there, not just law students, to sensitize on social justice in their societies. And not just sensitizing, they also have to embrace diversity at a personal level, because change starts with every individual out there. So if it starts with me, definitely I can spread it out there. So if I want to see that particular change in society, it has to start with me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So we have some questions in the comment sections, and we have actually a question for Fato. So somebody has asked, what barriers did you face as a female law student in a conservative society, and what suggestions do you have for other female law students to overcome these barriers? So Fato, this question is for you. I'll repeat the question again. What barriers did you face as a female law student in a conservative society, and what suggestions do you have for other female law students to overcome those barriers? Fato, you're on mute. Okay, so I think she cannot hear us. Fato, yeah, okay, she's here. Fato.
Hi, can you just repeat the question?
So my question from one of the viewers, somebody asked that what barriers did you face as a female law student in a conservative society, and what suggestions do you have for other female law students to overcome these barriers?
Okay, I think in the Gambia, being a female in general and wanting to like pursue your education is already a barrier in itself, because you already have these restraints that you need to be at home when you need to help with the chores, you need to do the cooking. So you as a woman, you're already trying to like balance being at home, helping your parents, I live with my grandmother, helping your grandmother with all the housework, and still going to school, still making sure that you're on top of your class and all these things. And then when you get to school, you are belittled by other people because they see you as like a woman. So when you talk, they try to put you down because, you know, they want to put women in their places. And constantly, I think it comes to a point where you just get tired of that. And constantly you're trying to like show them that, you know, you're not going to let them put you down, because you have a right to be there as much as they do. You have a right to pursue the education you want. You have the right to be the lawyer that you want to be. So I think what I would say to other female students, especially if people are trying to say you shouldn't go into law is not a profession for women, go there. That is your right. Okay, no one should tell you not to go anywhere. If you want to be an engineer, be an engineer. If you want to be a lawyer, be whatever you want to be. Don't let anybody, not even society, don't let anybody tell you where you should and where you should not go. I think that's one thing that we should tell all people who just want to study law, because even though it's hard, but at the end of the day, knowing that you fought for what you wanted to do is like so rewarding. And it's just like, it makes you want, you see the passion to just keep on going forward, because you have people who are telling you, no, you cannot do this. And you're like, yes, I can, you know?
That's amazing. You know what? I should actually improvise here and ask this question to all the females out here. Like, I'm gonna add Nikki. I'm gonna add Sarah. I'm gonna add Talita. And guys, actually, like, how many times have we heard this, that this is not a profession for girls? It's so hard to go to the court every day. It's so hard among men. If we're doing well, it's because we are girls, and it's either sympathy or because people wish something else for us. How many times have we heard this? I'm gonna start with Nikki.
Hi. Yes. There is also discrimination in my country as well. As women, we have to be able to keep up with the chores and all that. But lucky for me, I have great parents. My parents are very supportive of me, and very supportive for me to go to law school. So yeah, I didn't have to face that much discrimination. But when I actually got into the practical field, there has been a few discrimination towards that because there is only a few female lawyers that's actually go to court and practice law. So for that, the people usually say that a woman cannot be a lawyer. Usually represent a criminal at the court, but that is wrong because there are a lot of women doing it and they are very good at it. So I refer to we should not be discriminated for being a woman. We are able and we can do anything we want. So just don't let anyone say no to that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Talita, what's your take on this? Talita, you need to unmute. You need to unmute your mic.
Okay. All right. Can I just say that Fatu
Yeah.
and Nikki, that was good. That was really good. So I live in Vanuatu where I go to school. And here, oh well, before I started law school, people were like, lawyers are liars, and women are not that great at it.
Yeah.
And so that kind of put me off because I don't think we are or we should be, but it's just the way society sees us. But discrimination in law school or towards law students who are women is quite subtle, I would say. Where I'm from, it's not necessarily discrimination. It's just the inferiority complex. Well, I would stay in a room, and not that anybody actually really says it, but just the way our society is more patrilineal, and so you feel that you say the same thing, but it doesn't have the same effect unless a man says it. You have a leadership role in what you're doing, but you don't think people will listen to you the way they would to your male counterpart. So it's more subtle in that way, and I think that's more dangerous because people will be afraid to speak up about it, and nobody ever really. It doesn't really occur in school that much, or I don't know much about the practice side of it in reality, but just how I feel sometimes around things, around in classes or wherever I am, just that feeling that even if I get out there, people will say that, or will think that, okay, she's doing it, but a man could do it better. It's just the way.
And they
Yeah.
try to say that. They think it's okay to actually be sexist. They think it's all right. They can just go out there, be sexist to us, say sexist things, and then they can walk away with it. So people actually think that it's
Yeah.
all right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
Okay.
sad.
It's pathetic. Okay.
Yeah.
So Sarah, your turn. Sarah, you need to unmute your mic. Sarah, you need to unmute your mic. I think okay. I think she can't hear us. All right. So because now we're talking about something that is important to girls, we're gonna ask the same question to boys because we need to hear what you think about it since they're all our friends and they're all upcoming lawyers. So yeah. So let me add. Okay. So let me add Jenner. I'm gonna remove Nikki and Sarah. And I'm gonna add Kawe and Javier. So guys, what do you think about this? Are we gonna be better lawyers than you? Or what do you think about that? We're gonna start with Javier.
Whoa. Okay. Thank you. That's quite an unexpected question, I would say, but yeah, probably. Like most definitely, you're gonna be better lawyers than us.
No, but like,
So
what do you think about it? Is it in your country that like people say that because you are a man, you can do better in the court than a woman? Like giving example of a girl that what, Javier, you're gonna do better than this girl because you're a man, and she won't last that long.
So yeah, I got you. So yeah, definitely, there's a lot of discrimination, like a lot of discrimination in Guatemala, in Latin America. I would say it's still pretty common for people to choose men over women for posts in office for any type of profession. Discrimination is like still in classrooms. Like I've had teachers who said things like, "Oh, all women are crazy and they shouldn't be studying law," and like things like that. You know, it's like maybe they're just like they act as if they're joking, but they're clearly not joking, right? Like they have a sense of sexism like inherent to them, and like I'm aware of my privilege. Like I'm aware that inequality and discrimination has is present in law school, is present in like the big law firms, the small law firms. I'm aware it's a real issue, and I think precisely what I was talking about before. I think education is key in changing this because you can only like people are actually ignorant. Like most of them grew with parents who taught them about this, right? They taught them about like sexism. They taught them about like they would tell their children, their girls, "Oh no, you're not supposed to be a lawyer. You're supposed to stay at home." And they would tell the boys that they were supposed to work hard and they're supposed to like whatever, I like get a job and sustain the house. So I think like we like in order to change this sexist view, this sexist worldview that a lot of people have in my country, I think it's important like to do it through education. Like this I think this type of forums and participation where we see some amazing women as all of you are like demonstrating how capable just or more capable than us men that can show that can show people that there is no sense and there is no purpose for sexism in a democratic society. There is no purpose, there is no reason for sexism in a modern society. So that would be my take on it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think all men should think that way because if we were not gonna do it, if we were not good, we wouldn't be here. That's as easy as that. Okay, so Eduardo, what do you think regarding it? Is there sexism? Like, do you hear sexist comments coming from men to women when they're studying law, or they're in law school, or they're practicing law, anything like that? And what is your views regarding that? Okay, so we lost connection. So Jenna, you're gonna have to answer that question, and this time you unmuted. Yes.
Sure. Can you repeat it again, please?
So, what do you think there is sexism in this profession? That some people think that male lawyers can do better in the court than female lawyers, or you should give give a case to a female, not to a female lawyer, but a male lawyer, because they're going to be more hardworking. They can take more pressure. They can go to the court more often, and they can do better and win your case. And well, while women cannot do that. Have you heard that? Have you experienced something like that coming to a woman from a man or a woman?
I do in law school. I have experienced even teachers that have put these labels to women about all these characteristics that you have mentioned, and I'm confident. I believe that any person, regardless their gender, can be an awesome not only lawyer but a professional. I think that we have to take off these labels and empower everybody, including women, to be better, to be heard. And I think this is a really red flag for all the countries. I think even that the authorities of the countries may be more severe with these actions. For example, law schools. I don't know, the deans or the law school authorities may be like punish or be really strict with these behaviors.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think we have all experienced that. From where I come from, usually the hard work, the jobs that are harder, like being an engineer, being a doctor, being a lawyer, are something that men are supposed to do. The men have the privilege to do, and the woman should stay home, take care of the kids. If the hardest thing they could be is be a teacher, and I think we have all heard that. So I'll move on to the next question. Oh, before that, I have to ask Talita about her aspirations for the society, because I think I have missed that.
Mute. My aspirations for the society. Well, so when the little fire I said when I was talking about my journey through law school, I was so excited, wanted to change the world. Um, and it's slowly getting off, getting on as the journey gets tougher and reality starts kicking in that it's not always the way you see things. My aspiration for society is I want to be able to have legal aid, or I want to see legal aid centers being built in the rural areas in my country or wherever I intend to leave. So I think having legal aid centers in rural areas, well, I believe access to information is key. When people know what rights they have, what they're entitled to, what's supposed to be given to them, how they're supposed to be protected under the law, who's supposed to be doing what, the government's supposed to be doing this person's supposed to be doing that. When people know that these are the kind of things that they have a right to under the law, then that provides them a platform to speak up. And I believe having legal aid centers or information centers that provide this information to them, educating them of what rights they have or how the law is there to protect them. Because from experience, seeing growing up at home, most people are afraid of law enforcers because they're in a power, they're in authority, and they abuse the law. Not all of them, but they abuse the law, and people don't see law enforcement as a means of justice. So I believe my aspiration for wherever I intend to set home or my country is to have legal aid centers built in every rural area, the same as they would have aid posts, and have access to information, and not just legal information, all sorts of information. Because as Javier was saying, people should be educated. We should educate people, and in that way, we break through the barriers and the things that we experience, the discriminations, the sexism, all of this. And I think that comes through educating people, and not just the ones that have access to information in the cities, but those from where I come from, out in the rural areas where they have no access to road, no access to proper hospitals and schools, proper facilities. So I would like to see legal aid centers being set up there. That way it brings education, brings health aid post, and I believe all of these things will flow once people know what they should have and start demanding for it. Because right now not everybody knows, and they get told this is what you are supposed to get, this is what you're supposed to get, but they don't really know for sure for themselves. So I believe having legal aid could do that.
Yeah, right. I get that. Eduardo, for you, I'll ask the same questions. What are your aspirations for society, and how do you believe you can contribute to providing social justice as a lawyer? So we all want to hear your ideas regarding it. Eduardo. Okay, I think we lost him. I think we have a network connection going on in all the countries all together. That is like so weird. I think his device is getting connected. So we're gonna move on to the next question, and maybe if Eduardo comes back, I can ask him 2 questions at the same time. All right. Oh, I think he's back. Eduardo, can you hear us?
Yes. Please, I'm sorry. I every time I speak, it kicks me out. But can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, we can hear you now. So, what are your aspirations for the society, and what can you contribute providing social justice as a lawyer?
Yeah, so here in El Salvador, and I would guess like in the region in general, one big issue is corruption, whether it be at the highest level of government or day-to-day corruption with law enforcement agents, and police brutality. And I think we as law students and future lawyers, we have a huge role to play in this aspect, in trying to educate people on what their rights are, and what they should expect from government agencies and government officials. And I think that's very important because when you're aware of your rights and you're aware of the obligations of state officials, then you're in a way empowered, and you can help stop these abuses and these corruption rings that they're really damaging to a society, and to the rule of law. So I guess that as law students, standing up against corruption and against these issues is a very important thing that we could do.
Yeah, I think it's true that corruption is one of the reasons why our countries are so backwarded, where it could have been doing so well already. But if we become lawyers in the future, and inshallah we would, I think we would actually contribute to make a difference and make amendments to it. Right. So my next question is, how has the pandemic impacted the crime rate at where you are currently situated, or your country or region? Please provide some suggestions as how you believe it can be mitigated or combated. So basically, I want to share a story first before I ask a question if how crime rates have increased during this pandemic and what I suggest that we should do. So in recent times, due to lockdown, I know a lot of people are bored and are at home. So recently, I was getting harassed by some of the people like I don't even know on Facebook, and they used to like abuse me, write me abusive stuff and everything, and I blocked them. Right, that's what we do as normal people. If somebody abuses you on Facebook, you just block them. That's what you do. And after 4 or 5 months, that couple who used to harass me on Facebook made fake screenshots. They made fake profiles of me, and then they made fake screenshots of that profile with some other profile that they made, and then they send it to me, and then they started blackmailing me that, okay, you know what, because we harassed you and you complained against us, now we're going to harass you more because it's your fault because you complained against us, and now you're going to have to deal with it. And even for 5 minutes, maybe I was not scared. I was concerned about how people can do something like that, because you block them and you talk about it to the people you love, or your Facebook, that, you know what, this couple is harassing me, and they're threatening you more because you actually spoke against it. I don't know where this world is going. I don't know what society is going. And I actually had to tell my parents what's going on. I had to save all the evidences that this is a fake screenshot and these are real screenshots. I had to save all the URLs and I had to post it that way. I had to put on a status because this fake ID was actually sending fake screenshots to my contacts. And it was not only harassing me, but harassing my friends as well, because they were knocking my friends all the time to harass them. And this thing, what I did, I was doing a research regarding it because I wanted to make a video, because meanwhile this quarantine is going on, I got a lot of messages on my on the message page of my forum that a lot of people are getting harassed online. There are so many posts that is defaming them. There are so many posts that is harassing them, abusing them. And I was thinking to make a video for the longest time, that where I can talk about how to identify what's a fake screenshot, what's a real screenshot, how to identify if it's a real account or a fake account. I hadn't got the time. Today I had my research regarding it, and it's really important that if something happens to you, do not get scared. Talk to your parents, talk to the law enforcement agencies. Do not take any step by which by which mean you take revenge on somebody. Like a lot of youth do, like a lot of people do that, a lot of kids do that. If somebody does anything wrong to you, you go take revenge. You commit another crime to substitute something that has happened to you. I think you should not do that, because this thing has been going on in every country, because the internet usage is getting increased in every country. And I think we all can relate to that, like to fake IDs, texting us, abusing us on Facebook. I think mostly girls go through that. And I would suggest everyone to be patient, not to take any decision that might harm you later, and to take help from your law authorities and talk to your parents regarding it. And I think that way we can actually minimize this problem. So like that, I want to ask you guys, have you guys seen anything that's happening to you or somebody you know, or in general in your country during this pandemic as a crime? So I'm going to start with Jenner.
Well, from my end, I have seen that the crime rate have highly increased. However, there's not information whatsoever from government media or NGOs that to affirm that it's because of the pandemic. The government did release around 2,000 convicts, like 3 months ago, and maybe that could be the reason why the crime rate have been increased. I think this is a red flag for the authorities and must be solved ASAP. However, I think the way to fix it is to change or to fix the whole legal system. In one hand, in Nicaragua, the prison system is not quite good enough. The system does not have a strong program to reintegrate the convicts within the society. So like they don't have like the guideline to be again within people. For the other hand, the authorities must act as demanded by the law, which they don't. I mean, they don't take severe actions against these crimes. Moreover, I think what will help a lot is to encourage and create conscience regarding these incidents, because somehow I think that the crimes are committed due the lack of equality of privilege conditions, and it is not an excuse to commit crime, but a fact to be considered.
What I feel like is that some people commit crime because they feel like it's so easy to get away with it, because whenever even they're tried in the court, the punishment does not get executed, and they read reports like that on the newspaper all the time, and then they feel like, you know what, if I do it, even I'm gonna get away with it. So I think the main problem is not even the laws. The main problem is the execution of the laws, because in my country the laws are pretty strong. We have capital punishment system yet for murder, and I feel like there are people who are still killing people and they think they can get away with it. They actually believe that. The person that actually threatened me used their real accounts because they believe that they did not have any fear and they can actually get away with it. And that is the problem in most of our countries, that people do not fear law. They think it's very easy to get away with it. So I think that's one of the main problems. Nikki, what do you think about it?
Actually, same. People in my country as well, they think they can get away with the crime because the law enforcement here are not as strong as any other country in the world. So yeah, well, especially those crimes online. There are some people who are actually going through hacking the other person's accounts and then posting about it as they post, and they are actually getting away with it. The law enforcement system here, they don't have any strong, taking actions against those who actually commit crimes online. And I think that is the factors that concerns most of us, because anyone can just hack into our accounts and just post our privacy without any concern about getting arrested or not. So yeah, that is my point of concerns that's happening in my country as well.
And I feel like, guys, what's worse is that anybody can now Google you, steal your photo, because anybody would find you with your exact name on Google, and they can just find your photo, and they can make a fake account of you, and they can do whatever they want to do with it. I think it's one of the rarest cases that they actually send you the screenshots and make you feel bad about it. But mostly, maybe you, all of us, have many fake accounts. We don't even know about it. So, Talita, what do you think? Talita, you have to unmute.
Sorry. Is your question to me in relation to the crime rate or online harassment?
What do you think? How are the crime rate increasing in your country, and why do you think it's happening? Like in the pandemic, due to the pandemic, obviously. But what are the reasons do you think that it's happening for?
So if it's all right, I'll answer because I live in Vanuatu. So I'll answer from here. Here the crime rate is, I think, stable.
Okay.
We're COVID-19 free, have been, so that's been a good thing. Although the country has been affected with the borders closing, and because tourism is a main income, and we don't have tourists, a lot of people have been laid off. But thankfully, they have the family members take care of each other. So there's minor things happening, but from an observer's perspective, I wouldn't say that the crime rate has increased. It's just, the way it's been, which is it's not that bad.
It's at
But
equilibrium.
sorry?
Like it's at equilibrium. It hasn't gone too much.
Yeah. It's always the same, which is to say that there's not been much activities. But in my country, in PNG, there, like I think Jainer said, there's no report from NGO or the government official stats or anything that I have seen. Maybe they have put up, but I think they've been too busy with COVID-19 reports and not to put up things. But the crime alert, they have a crime alert page on Facebook where citizens just, put up whatever is happening from wherever they're from. And lately I've been seeing that we have the traffic lights back home. Whenever cars stop, the boys just go and start opening. There'll be a few of them will be distracting you in front, while the rest open the back door of your trunk and start taking stuff out. And that's been happening constantly over the last few days or a couple of weeks, I think. So that's really bad, because it never happened. And so the lockdown and the pandemic has really had an impact on, because people live in the cities already in squatter settlements, some like in the outskirts of the city at least. So that's had an impact on those who are low income families who may get laid off work or things like that. And sometimes boys are just sometimes just being aimless. So yeah.
What I hear is that where you live, it's safer than where you're from, actually, right? Comparatively, it's a safer place.
Yes. Yes.
So,
yes, but it is home, so they're both homes, I guess.
Your family is there. You're always gonna be, worried regarding that.
Yeah.
I get that. So, Kapoor, what do you think? Has the crime rate increased in your country due to the pandemic? And why do you think that happened? Is it just due to the pandemic, or the government not taking care of it, everything like that?
To be honest, I don't have any official information as to the increase of the crime rate. I think things are fairly stable. That's not to say we didn't have quite the high crime rate before, but it would be an uninformed assumption to make that the crime rate has increased during this pandemic. What I can say has increased, however, is the loss of employment, both formal and informal. I just don't have, there's no official statistics to suggest that that has led to an increase in crime. But the pandemic has definitely affected the general standard of living.
I feel like if people are losing their job, they're gonna have to survive, and to survive, they might actually get into criminal like activities,
Resort.
because survival is your first thing to do. Yeah, you have to survive, right? So I think this is also one of the
That's
reasons
true.
that for survival, people are actually getting involved in criminal activities. That is actually like
That's
a good
true.
anticipation of it, right? Exactly. So, Joe, what is your take on it? Is the crime rate increasing in your country and everything? I think we lost her. So we're gonna ask Sarah. Sarah, what do you think?
Well, my position is similar with Kawe because we're in the same location. So I wouldn't say the pandemic has had an increase, has resulted in an increase in crime because there's been no official statement of that. However, I have noticed that because people are forced to stay in their homes because of the pandemic, it has resulted into cyberbullying, like you said earlier on. So you find there are a lot of things that are happening online where people's reputations are being ruined because somebody's coming up with fake stories and all those things. Because people, they have nothing to do at the end of the day, they resort to going online and start trying to start things that aren't even proved or rather verified. So in the end, people's reputations are being ruined like almost every day.
Right, exactly. I mean, like I say, it won't be every time that a real account actually texts you with a fake screenshot. Mostly it's fake accounts talking to other real accounts and tarnishing your name. That's usually what happens. And maybe we're never gonna find out until one day we meet somebody who's gonna be like, hey, remember we used to talk 2 years back and we were in a relationship, and you're gonna be really confused, like what happened? So yeah, I understand where you guys are coming from. I think Kalita think it's really funny. I could see her laughing. Yeah. All right. So before we lose Photo, I'm gonna add her back, and I'm gonna ask her the same question. Photo, do you think the crime rate is increasing in your country? Why do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say that due to unemployment rates, people are finding other means to secure money for their families, and also there's the factor that because people are staying more at home, domestic violence is increasing. People who are like really agitated, they don't have work, they don't have how to feed their family, so they're putting all that pressure and all that anger onto the people who are within them. So you have this idea that there are people who are in environments that are not safe. Whether children, whether women, or just people in general, just being constrained in environments where it's not safe. So you see like increase in domestic violence just happening, and I think that's a case that there are organizations here which I'm volunteering for, trying to make sure that we are advocating for these things. We're making sure that we're trying to create safe environments for these people. If they're ever in a need where they don't feel safe being in their own homes, they have somewhere where they can like call, or they still have someone they can lean on to make sure that they're having ways to safeguard themselves. And I think in particular in this country, that's something that we're facing a lot when it comes to our children and when it comes to our women. So trying to make sure that we change that dynamic, trying to make sure that children and women are just being in a safe environment is something that is really essential, and it's really like rapid in this coronavirus that we're happening, just being at home and also possibly on your mental health. You just being at home, not knowing what the future lies, not knowing what is going on, has a big toll on your mental health. So like trying to make sure that you are in a safe environment, make sure that you're surrounded by people who are going to help you in that sense, is something that's really important. I think that's something that we should also be keeping on talking about too. If you have that friend who's not feeling well in the day, just say, hey, what's up? What's going on? Just check in on people, because you never know what's going on in people's minds and being just constrained in their own home. So I think that's something that we need to work on.
I think domestic violence is increasing in every country because when two people, even no matter how much they love each other, are stuck to see each other 24 hours, and when they're in a psychological suppression that they cannot go out, they cannot have a daily life, it somehow psychologically impacts you, and you actually burst out to your partners, because domestic violence has significantly increased in all countries during this pandemic. And I think all the countries can relate to it, and we're all from different countries, and I think we're all going to say that yes, domestic violence has in fact increased after this pandemic, and there is no way they can get help, because even to file a case, you're going to have to go outside, because not a lot of people know that you can call a helpline, and not a lot of people are comfortable talking to somebody on a helpline, or a lot of people in my country do not even have access to it because either they're so scared of their husbands to make a call to the law enforcement agencies and ask help from. So I think it's pretty much the same in every country. All right. So the next question that I'm going to be asking is that how have you okay, so what have you been doing during this pandemic? How do you keep yourself motivated to remain productive and efficient? So so let's start with Nikki this time. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, during pandemic, I managed to go back home to my hometown. I'm currently living in Yangon, which is the city, but during the pandemic, I went back home, and I find it's really difficult to create a routine at home because at the time I was actually working from home, but I find it's really hard to focus on something at home because of the pressure, because of the stress and everything that's going on. I find it was really confusing and hard for me at first. So what I managed to do is I attend a lot of online courses that includes how to manage time efficiently during this time, and it's actually really helpful for me because of that course I try to manage my time more efficiently, and I try to create a routine, like what time should I get up in the morning, or what should I wear, what should I eat, or when I should exercise and all that. So that was after a month or two, I kind of get used to it, and I managed to stay productive while I was staying at home as well.
That's great. That's great. So what I usually do is I am a person who cannot sit idle. Like I actually have anxiety when I'm just not doing anything. I have anxiety from not working because when I'm not working, I'm thinking about work. So I keep myself as busy as I could. I take up internships, I take up research projects, and I have my studies going on still yet. So I have my phone and I work on it because as long as I work, I feel like I am doing something, or I'm going to get really depressed. So it's either Netflix that I'm watching, or it's like I'm working. Either one of it. All right, Jenner, you look very sad. Like you just thought about, oh, this pandemic, when is this gonna end? And it automatically made you so sad.
No, well, from my end, I'm currently working as a paralegal, and
Okay,
I'm
wait,
working from home.
before that. So we have a question for paralegals. So somebody's asking, how efficient do you think paralegal advice is, given paralegal advice is from someone who's yet to get a license, given that in many cases, paralegal advice providers show certificates that might not be real? He just left. Okay, so okay. All right. So because we're on the screen, so what do you think regarding that, Javier? So it is sort of true that they're not experts. So okay, so generate here.
Sure.
Okay. Why did you run away?
My phone kicked me out. I misclicked the back button.
No problem.
Okay,
no problem.
so regarding your question, it's really common that paralegals are like underrated. I don't know why. Actually, clients ask for the partner opinions or advice. However, when you exercise as a paralegal, all the work you do needs to be validated by your partner. So let's say I'm drafting a legal memo regarding tax legislation in Nicaragua. So I draft the memo, then I send it to my boss or my partner, and he or she verifies that it's okay and it's according to the law. So let's the paralegal do not make the work by himself or herself. it needs to be validated. Hence, and there's not like a contingency by doing it, since you have to also share or discuss your position with your partner, and like reach to a point. So there's no, like I said, there's no contingency. And moreover, I think that regarding your question about fake license, I think that the client or the customer trusts the firm. I mean that the firm had done the duty to make a research regarding the person is hiring. So I think that's the firm works. So there's no like a consequence, and the who backs you up, it's the partner and the firm.
Right, right. I think Nikki would be able to answer that question as well.
Yes, also working as a paralegal at a law firm, and I agree with Jenner. As paralegal, if we were asked to draft a memo or prepare some sort of documentations, it has to be verified by our senior lawyers. So either way, it's going to be our advice, but also our partner's advice. So the responsibility will be on the firm instead of the paralegal. So it doesn't really matter if the paralegal has the license or not. Mostly in my country. Yeah, I think so.
And I mean, a lot of people don't understand that not all lawyers need to even have a license. I mean, if
yeah,
I think a lot of people do not understand that. If you're doing corporate law, I don't think you need license. You can just be an in-house lawyer from the office and just send the documents. I don't think you need that. But yeah, that's actually a lot of people actually think about it. That should I take opinion from a paralegal because they're not practicing it? How do they know what's happening? But well, you actually take advice from a medical student, so I think you can take advice from a paralegal as well. I mean, it's not that bad, right? Okay, so next. Oh, so did I miss anybody? Oh yeah, Sarah. I think I missed you and I missed Alita. What do you think regarding the paralegal one?
Yeah, I think I do agree with my colleagues actually, because it's same here. As here we call them as junior associates or junior counsel. So you work under supervision, and when a client comes, they don't specifically come to a paralegal, but rather they come to the firm. So the work or the advice that you draft for the client, it's not specifically your own work, but work that is being supervised by the firm as a whole. And should anything go wrong, as a paralegal, you won't be liable for anything, but rather it's the firm, because that work was done with strict supervision of the senior associates in the law firm.
Basically, what I feel like what we do as paralegals are basically research. Because when I was in DLA and now where I'm working, what they give me is they give me all the contracts and they tell me to go through it. And
That's
to actually, yeah, they give you templates and they tell you that insert this, insert that. I don't think even we are even using our like minds properly to do anything. I think clients do not have anything to be.
Exactly. And once you're done doing that, it has again to go to the senior associates who has to see if you've done it correctly. So yeah.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna move on to the next question. Oh, okay. So I was asking. I wanted to ask Fato regarding how she has kept herself productive, but before that, we lost connection with her. So I'm just gonna add Fato back. So Fato, how have you kept yourself productive during this pandemic, and how have you taken care of your beautiful self? Tell us. I think it froze again. So since it froze, we're gonna go with the next question, which is so we're almost done with our session. I think Kabwe is here, so we're gonna add Kabwe and ask. Okay, Kabwe, can you hear us? Okay, it's like he's just here to watch us, not because he wants to say something. He's just here for supporting us. All right. So Kabwe, we wanted to ask you that how have you been keeping yourself productive during this pandemic?
Okay. That is a great question. Thank you. So the government issued a resolution to the effect that graduating students should return to physical learning. And I'm a graduating student. I'm supposed to finish at the end of this year, so I'm back in school. That's one. Of course, observing the World Health Organization guidelines, social distancing, sanitize, wear your mask. And then when I'm not doing school, I work out 4 times a week for an hour. Try and keep myself fit. Take care of my body, so I feel I don't let the stress and the mass hysteria get to my head. And generally, that's it. That's my routine. Predominantly school, and then I try and squeeze in some physical fitness.
Right. That is so important. Taking care of ourselves is so important because whenever we go to
Exactly.
the sport, somebody should say that's a good looking warrior, and self will get that. So Javier, how are you keeping yourself productive during this quarantine?
Okay, definitely. I think it's. I'm a little bit embarrassed of answering this after Cowboy because I'm doing no exercise. Like I know I should, but I'm not actually like working out. Like you may have noticed. I'm sure you noticed that I've gained a little weight. But okay, so the thing, like for me, in any case, like I've been trying, like as you were saying, right? I've been trying to take on as many projects as I could. I've been trying to do research to like stay in my university, like take on a lot of work as a way to like get my mind away from the whole pandemic, right? Like if I'm thinking a lot, like if I have nothing to do and I start overthinking about like we're living in a worldwide pandemic, like the world is changing and everything, I get worried, I get exasperated. So I try to work a lot as a way to focus on other things that are not, the coronavirus. So, however, since like there's a lot of students, like young students who are listening to us, I think it's worth mentioning that there are two main things that have helped me go through with staying productive. The first is, of course, motivation. Like a lot of the things that I'm doing, I'm particularly fond of. Like I'm researching a lot on human rights issues and like international law issues and such, like rule of law. So I enjoy that. So I can spend like hours a day working on that because I enjoy what I'm doing. But like most of the time, I'm doing things that I don't particularly enjoy, but that I have to do, like from the national legal system of my country, or from like you were talking about, like doing things that are merely formalities and not actually like investigating or using the like a more in-depth approach to what you're doing. So while I don't enjoy that, and while I don't feel particularly motivated to doing that, how I find like a way to stay productive is discipline. Like I think discipline is the most important thing you can do, like from the beginning of the university, like in your entire life, for anything you want to do in order to achieve your goals. Motivation is sporadic. You won't always be motivated to do the things that you want to do. You won't always enjoy the things that you're doing. Doing exercise is not particularly enjoyable to some people, myself included. So you need a lot of discipline if you want to actually achieve things. And like just to give a brief example, like for me, being disciplined means doing the things even when you don't feel like doing them, even when you would rather like sit at home and watch Netflix, even when you would rather have a Zoom party, even when you would rather just sleep. Like you may not feel productive, like you may not advance as much as you would in other days, but you should keep trying, keep working, even if you progress just a little. Keep grinding, like working every day and work hard at what you're doing, because when you work hard at the things you don't enjoy, you become excellent at the things you do enjoy, because you have the discipline, you have the talent, and you have the motivation. So that's how I've gotten into that, like being a little bit more, productive during the pandemic.
Right. So I think that what we understand from here is that do the things that you enjoy, And why don't you become skilled on something that you actually enjoy doing, so that you do not get bored and you stay motivated to do that more and more? So I think that's a really great suggestion, Javier. So I'm not going to ask this question again because we do not have much time, because we have actually two really nice questions coming from somebody. So I'm actually going to move on to that, which is, has this pandemic actually changed our plans that we had before, this pandemic took place? I think we all have a lot to say regarding it. Yeah, I can see all of our faces and be like, yes, we had so much plans. We were supposed to graduate. We were all supposed to be at Oxford. We were all supposed to come back, and we were all supposed to start working, get our masters. And yeah, so I think for me, it changed everything for me. I was supposed to graduate. I was supposed to go to Oxford and see you all. And I really miss that because that didn't happen. And now we do not know when that's going to happen. So we're all going to have to wait for that to come. And then I wanted to go apply for my master's programs and come back and get a job. And now I had to make like a new plan for everything, a plan that is new and that is like effective, because I do not want to feel like there's something I could have done and I did not do. So regarding that, what do you think, guys? Let's start from Javier. What do you think? How has your plans really changed due to this pandemic?
Okay, so here's you should probably not take this advice from me, but the good thing is that when you don't have a plan, plans cannot change due to a pandemic. So, like, of course, I had a plan. Like I wanted to study my master's. I wanted to go work at the UN or whatever. But I've always felt like just trying to take the opportunities that come at me at the present moment and trying to be the best at them. So, like, luckily, I guess for me, I'm still like a year away from graduating, and for the time being, like a lot of work that I'm doing, I can do at home. So, like for the time being, if things return to normal, my plans wouldn't have changed. But the most likely scenario, right, is that things won't return to normal. So in that case, I think what's most probable is that I won't be able to go to study abroad next year or whatever. I think that kind of like globalization will probably slow down a little bit, and migration is being reduced all over the world. Like there are now more requisites, and it's even harder to enter another country. So in that sense, my plans have changed or will change, I guess, in the near future. But I think like these kind of experiences, like the use of technology, of the fact that we're six people from six different continents all talking at the same time, being able to see each other and to discuss, I think like my plans will not only change for the worse but also for the better, because there are a lot of new opportunities that can be taken away from the pandemic. There are a lot of things that have changed in the way we communicate, in the way we work, in the people that need help, in the way international organizations work. And I think we can take advantage of that. So yeah, my plans have changed, but I think it may be for the better.
Right. I mean, I try to see the positive part of it too. Like, I feel like, yeah, if I was rushing myself, maybe I would not be able to do this, or maybe I would not be able to do that. Now I have time to actually take it slow and think about the other options that I might have not taken if this did not happen. So yeah, it's a good way to look at it. Right. Jenner, what about you?
Well, so far, my only regrets is the fact that I was not able to take my internship from the LA Piper. That was a truly shame, and the fact we are not going to London this year. When it comes to my plan, I think that I'm still adhering to them. I remain to my plans that are getting graduate this year. Well, I'm still learning about what I like about tax and corporate law. So I think that
Right.
it haven't changed at all.
Anybody else? Anybody else's plans actually changed? Delita, did your plans change? Nope. Okay, Nikki. Wow. Okay. Nothing. Nikki is so lucky. Like, I think the pandemic happened when she graduated.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Well,
So lucky, yeah.
I don't
Yeah, Talita was saying something.
No, I just wanted to say that I think the only plan that changed is that I was really looking forward for the internship, the DLA Piper internship, because I was going to Washington, but it got moved. So I hope it'll defeat the purpose if I have to do it online, if that's even possible.
Oh
Because
my God, I really hope that does not happen.
yeah,
I'll
I
be
hope
terrible.
not.
From that way, yeah.
Yeah, I was yeah, I was a little shattered about that, as well as our trip to London. I was really looking forward to that
I
one.
was just
And
looking forward to that, you know. I
yeah,
write in all our posts that I really miss you guys, see you in London. That's what I'm
yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm so sad about. But hopefully they don't, we don't do a virtual thingy like they did for the development
Don't
course for
even
the other fellows.
somewhere. Don't even
Yeah. Let's just hope that I think I had a plan for my family to come for graduation, but with the borders being closed, I don't think they're coming, so that's kind of looking a little dull. Yeah, and other than that, the future is uncertain after graduation. We'll just see where life takes us.
Okay. Fato, what do you think? And finally we have Fato. And I hope we have
Sorry,
other people.
connection problems.
Yeah,
Like
no
Talisa
problem.
said, there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment because you literally have no idea where things are gonna go. For me, I was like, this year, I was like, yes, I'm gonna graduate, I'm gonna do my bar, and then we're gonna see you guys in London. All these plans were like set, and then coronavirus happened, and you're just like, well, okay. So you kind of just like dealing with things at the moment. Just like, I'm just gonna live with the flow and just see how things go because right now nothing is like set in stone. Things that were supposed to happen are postponed or just not going to happen anymore. So you just like, I think you're trying to keep yourself at ease that, possibly things might not go back to normal. So you have to try and find what a new normal is. And that is the only way we can go about with this. Not just say, oh, things are messed up, I'm just gonna sit. You just have to adapt to it and make sure that you're trying to find alternatives. That if you weren't gonna do this, now you're gonna have to turn around and say, yes, this is what I'm gonna do. Because at this moment, with this coronavirus, nothing is certain, and it's really sad.
I think that's just life. We always have to be prepared for whatever that comes our way. We can never be too sure. I mean, you can have a plan today and maybe tomorrow something else might happen to you, to the people surrounding the plan, or to the event itself. So I think it's really important that we stay patient and make a new plan with whatever is in our way and don't give up. I think that's very problem, that we don't give up. That's really important that we do that. Sarah, what about you? Did your plans change, or are you still on the same page?
Definitely, my plans changed. I was supposed to graduate somewhere October, but apparently I won't be able to do that. And obviously, the trip to London, that was like the trip that everybody was waiting for, that got cancelled. And hopefully, we pray that probably by January, things will be back to normal so we can see each other again.
I feel like we're not even waiting to graduate. We're just like, we have to go to Oxford. We all have to go to Oxford and meet each other, right?
Honestly, that is the one thing.
Yeah, we're like, we don't care when we graduate. Let us just go to London and then we're gonna think about it. I feel like that's what's going on, right? So guys, we're almost done with it. So before we end the session, I'm gonna ask each one of you that like you leave a message for the viewers of Bangladesh Forum. And Bangladesh Forum is a youth organization. Like this organization works to enlighten the youth regarding their legal rights, their legal opportunities, their responsibilities towards the society, and how they can abide by law, and gives them different read articles and readings and research papers where they can read by themselves and in easy languages, in non-lawyer languages, by which they can read it and understand and have some little knowledge about law. It gives preliminary legal services to people, like you say, like paralegals. We ask people and then we help the people who need help from us. And we also work to publish legal articles, legal opinions from upcoming law students. We go through it. We have an editor-in-chief. He reads it. We go through it, and then we publish it. And yeah, and we have our own webinars, our own youth conferences, youth seminars, where we actually bring out not only law students who are the part of the youth itself, like which consists of people from any other major, and we educate them about law, their rights, and whatever that's going to help them have a better life in the society. So if you guys want to leave any message, you guys gonna have to leave a message for my forum. So we're gonna start with Javier because I can see him.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you, Sabi. Well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. It was wonderful being here. It was wonderful seeing all of you, and thank you to all of you who connected to see us and listen to us. I guess my message would be that this pandemic has shown us a lot of things that maybe we weren't so keen on accepting before. First of all, the importance of social rights, like the importance of a healthcare system that actually covers the entirety of the population and not only a fraction of it. The importance of the protection of labor rights, of a welfare system. A lot of people lost their jobs, lost their houses, lost a lot of income. And the best countries, the countries that have dealt the best with the pandemic, have been the ones with a social protection net that it's equal and helpful for the entire community, not only for a select group of people. So on the one hand, that on the second hand, that there's a lot of work that we can do from our homes. There's a lot of ways we can help the environment. We can use less transportation. We can drive less. We can fly less. And I guess the third thing is the importance of migration. Most of the you can do the research yourselves, but in a lot of countries, in the majority of countries, at the very least, a third or a half of all essential workers, healthcare workers, grocery store workers, people who clean, are migrants. So I guess these three things are some of the main lessons from the pandemic. And my message to all of you will be, if you want to study law, if you want to study business, if you want to get into politics, whatever you decide to do with your life, take into consideration the importance of human rights. Remember how we could have dealt with the pandemic in a better way if human rights were at the forefront of public policy. Remember the importance of migrants when discussions about immigration are taking a hold in your country. Remember the importance and the easiness of taking care of the environment when thinking if you need to drive to a place or if you can carpool. Remember that human rights are not only a thing about trying to have a moral compass or trying to feel better than everybody else. The purpose of human rights is to make sure that life is equal and is better for everybody. So whatever you do, take human rights, take social rights into consideration, and remember all the things that we have learned from the pandemic. Thank you so much for having me once again. It was truly an honor, and it was lovely seeing all of you. Cheers from Guatemala.
All right. So, Jenner, a goodbye note from you.
So, in first instance, I highly appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys. My message will be that I encourage you to become whatever you want, to pursue your dreams, and always to stay fighting for and abolish all the things that make the world worse. I think we all together can make this a better place. I know it sounds a cliche, but it's true. I encourage you to achieve your goals, and I respect and I admire you, Savvy's NGO, what the things that are currently doing for society. I hope soon I have the opportunity here in Nicaragua, and I will try to do so. and it's really admirable.
Thank you, Jenner.
Thank you
That
again
actually means so much
for
because I remember when we were in Nairobi, I was telling you guys about my articles that, I write about this, I do that, and I made you guys read it. Like, I remember I made Javier read it. I was like, I sent it to him on WhatsApp, and I asked him the next day, did you read it? Because you better read it because I wrote it. I think you remembered that, right? And you came back to me, you're like, yeah, Sabi, I read it, and I really liked it. So now I am actually doing the things that I believe in, and I really love doing that. Right. Okay. So, Talita, any message for my forum?
Oh, message, right. I was thinking something to say. First of all, thank you for having me. I am so glad and honored to be here, and I thank you as well for putting this together and for stepping out there, even though you're still in your studies, and for coming up with this amazing initiative. It's really amazing and such an encouragement. So thank you. A message to your forum would be that
because the youth.
The youth forum. Sorry. Okay, the youth forum that you co-founded. Yes, the message to the youth. My message to you guys would be that in this pandemic, there are some of us that are overly excited about things that we want to do, and we go for it, and there are some of us that are like, if we do it, we do it. We don't, we don't. Whatever it is, as Javier was saying, to think about what matters most and what's important in all you do. I would say that it's kind of hard when you don't know where life's gonna go after this, to stay on track with whatever it is that you're doing. And so I'm still trying to figure out what that is. And so my encouragement to all of us would be that don't lose hope. We're still alive, and that is more than enough, and there's more that we can do. And to be flexible with the changes that come with things. And yeah, and I hope that we won't be able to see you, but if for something like this again, to see that I hope that this has in some way contributed or will contribute to your journey in whatever way that you wish to go. And thank you for having me, and so much love from the Pacific Islands. Thank you.
Before we lose Fato, I'm gonna ask her a quick question, which is, do you have any message for the youth, for the viewers? Fato. Okay, I think it froze. Okay, Nikki.
So first of all, I would like to say thank you to Sophie and the forum. And from what you said, the forum, what you guys have been doing, it sounds really amazing, and it's encouraging for all the youth out there. And my message would be the same with others, to stay productive at this time, because we are supposed to be moving forward, right? We are youth, and we have a lifetime ahead to prove ourselves that we are capable, and we can be useful for our own community. So I encourage all of you to keep on trying, keep on doing whatever it is that you're doing, and keep on pursuing your dreams. I myself will do the same. I myself will try to keep up with everything that's going on with the world, and try to change the community for good. So I hope you guys get some sort of inspirations from these sections, and I hope the Sabiha and her forum will keep on doing things like this in the future as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Sarah, we would like that you're the last one to leave a message. So what do you want to say for the forum?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you for having me here on this platform. And I was really, really excited to share my experience with you people. And my message would be stay positive during this pandemic and stay positive that there are medical personnel out there around the world that are fighting this pandemic for us. And while they're trying to find the solution, let us stay healthy and make sure to stay safe. Mask up, sanitize, and follow all the health regulations. And mostly, don't give up on your dreams. You can work hard and you can achieve whatsoever you put your mind
That is
to.
amazing,
Thank you.
Sarah. So it was amazing having you all in here. You guys are the most supportive friends anybody could ever ask for. And I cannot wait to see you guys again. And I'm sure the viewers have understood and gotten a lot of ideas from you guys. And now we definitely have exchanged our ideas and can use that for our better futures. And together we actually are stronger, and we are a diverse group of people who have our own ideas and we share it, and that's what we do. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you. It means so much to
Thank
me.
you.
I think
You're
Pato is trying
welcome.
to I think Pato is trying to reconnect with us, but I think she's still calm. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. It means so much to me.
You're welcome.
Okay, guys.
You're welcome.
Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Stay home.
Yeah.
And like Nikki says, the first priority that we have right now is to take care of ourselves. We are the youth. We have a long life ahead. We have a really long time to do whatever we want to do. But maybe when this time passes. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care. Goodbye.